All right. Welcome to episode 102 of Sports Hype. We have a lot of topics to get through today, starting with the Jets trading defensive end John Franklin Myers to the Broncos for a 2026 six-round pick. We'll get our thoughts on that, as well as the Chiefs extending Travis Kelce to a 2-year, $34.25 million deal, making him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. I think it's well deserved. We'll get Gio's thoughts on that as well. The Patriots extended defensive tackle Christian Barmore, one of their defensive studs, to a 4-year, $92 million deal with $41.8 million guaranteed. We'll get both of our thoughts on that. Eagles signed offensive lineman Mekhi Becton to a 1-year, $5.5 million deal, beefing up that O line that was much needed after a few retirements they had. We'll get our thoughts on that. And then I have a very high on this. We'll get my opinion as well as my co-host's opinion on the Cowboys signing Ezekiel Elliott back to the Cowboys on a 1-year, $3 million deal. And then Michael Gallup, former Cowboy, signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Raiders. And Guardian caps, for those that don't know, are the black, like, cap looking things that go on top of the helmets in practices. They were authorized for in-game use during the NFL season if players want to use them. We'll get our thoughts on that. And then the NFL draft was last week. There was a lot of surprises, so we'll get our biggest surprise from the NFL draft. I know I have one in mind. We'll see my co-host thoughts on the biggest surprise. And then to round it out for the NBA, we're going to say what's next for the Suns, Pelicans, Lakers, Heat, and Bucks after their respective first round exits. All teams who had high expectations did not pan out. So we'll see what me and my co-host thinks about what they should do next, all in this episode on Sports Hype. Starting with the Jets trading defensive end John Franklin Myers to the Broncos for a 2026 six-round pick. So what's your thoughts on that, Gio?
I'm not looking too much into it. Yeah, it was a good move for the Broncos, in my opinion. Try to get that defense, back on track. For the Jets, though, I mean, they still have such a great defense. I'm not really worried about it. I think, yeah, he was a good piece, but he does make or break them, obviously. So, carry on with, that move. Good for both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a great move for the Broncos. They do need defensive help, and they don't, as you said, they don't really need him. He was a great piece for them, but they don't really need him to succeed. They have a bunch of defensive pieces. That wasn't their weakness last year. It was the offense, which we'll assume will get better with Aaron Rodgers, hopefully healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
But getting to more in Travis Kelce. What is your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be completely honest. You were cutting in and out, but what I heard was Travis Kelce. So I'm expecting, you asking me a question about his contract. Um, it was amazing, honestly. Probably the best move they did, other than drafting Xavier. So for them to sign Travis to that extension is huge. That means that their window of opportunity for not a three-peat, maybe four, maybe win, the next 2 out of the 3 years, who knows? With Travis Kelce being there, they always have a chance, right? With Patrick Mahomes to win a Super Bowl every single year. So congratulations to them extending Travis Kelce, arguably the greatest tight end in history. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Chiefs for making that move. Then again, that goes right on to the GM and his extension, right? Andy Reid gets extended. Patrick's got a good deal going on for him. That team's looking scary once again. They look like they can come out of the AFC West. Go ahead, go to another Super Bowl and win a three-peat. That would be insane.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Mahomes showed us last year, can never count him out or the Chiefs out. So just keeping Travis Kelce makes him that much more dangerous, and then adding the fastest guy in the league. Well, on paper, the fastest guy in the league. We don't know if he's faster than the Cheetah yet, but on paper, fastest combine time ever in history, fastest guy in the league. I mean, that just makes him that much more dangerous, as well as adding another speedster in Marquise Brown. Watch out for the Chiefs. This was a great move for them to keep, as Gio said, the best tight end in the game and one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in history.
Right.
But moving on to a lowly team in the New England Patriots, they extended one of their defensive standouts, defensive tackle Christian Barmore, to a 4-year, $92 million deal with $41.8 million guaranteed. So what's your thoughts on that, Gio?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good move. Then again, they're not gonna do much this year, in my opinion. Yeah, they got Drake May. Congratulations. Develop him, win a lot. Hopefully, you guys can make some moves, and then we'll see what happens there. But I think that was a good extension, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Wasn't a terrible extension. I think it was a good extension. Do need to give him his money because he is their best player, as I said. So
Right.
good extension, but yeah, they're not going to do much this year. But I think they're looking towards the future. They wanted to make sure they could keep their defense intact because their defense was great last year. It's just their offense couldn't score anything. Their defense held opponents to 10, 17 points in that range. It's just their offense couldn't score. So I expect them to take a few more wins this year, but not a huge jump.
Yeah, especially in that AFC, East being so competitive. You have the Jets, you have Miami, you have the Bills. Obviously, the Bills are lower tier than last year, but still, they're going to be competitive. They have Josh Allen, the top 5 quarterback in the league, in my opinion. So they're still going to always be competitive when you got him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Bills, but as long as you have Josh Allen, a quarterback like Josh Allen,
Right.
you're going to be in the running for a division title.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. But getting to a former AFC East player now moved to the NFC East, Mekhi Becton signing a 1-year, $5.5 million deal with the Eagles. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, good move. Adds depth to their team. Really gives them a chance to go ahead and win that Super Bowl that they're looking for, especially when, they got, Saquon there now. They got AJ healthy. They got Hurts healthy. Hopefully that defense has obviously improved. So we'll see what happens there, especially in the NFC East, where you really have, I want to say, 2 teams that can really compete for that top spot. Obviously, it's the Eagles. Then you guys, right? You guys aren't going to go anywhere, right? And then you never know what's going to happen with Danny Dimes. If he's going to come out playing like prime, whoever you want to say, John Elway, prime Tom Brady, prime, like he played ridiculous. I don't think people understand how ridiculous 2 years ago was for Daniel Dimes to do what he did, to get that contract extension, was based off of that one season alone, and it was that great, and like that season was good enough to where people were shocked, right? That's our future. So, anyways, who knows if he's gonna have another good season like that? Who knows if who did the Commanders just get quarterback wise?
Oh, Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. They're stepping up. They still got, I think, Scary Terry there.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, they're lacking a little bit, but they got a new coach in there, got a new team, new culture. So you can never count them out really to win a couple of games and mess the whole thing up for the Eagles or the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. This division is going to be a lot tougher than people think. I think the Cowboys, unfortunately, are going to take a step back given with the lack of free agency moves they've done so far. I did like their draft, but the lack of free agency moves is what turns me off. I think we're going to take a few steps back, maybe win 10 games. I don't think it'll be enough to win the division. I don't think the Giants will be great, but they won't be as bad as last year. Daniel Jones, he's not a terrible quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback either. He'll be in the middle of the pack. I think he'll be good enough to get them the third finish. And then I think the Commanders could take a big jump and surprise some people, but I think the max still win 7 games. But that's a huge jump here, and they'll take a step in the right direction. But as you said, it's going to be between the Cowboys and Eagles. going to get to the signing for the Eagles. I do love it. Obviously, as I said, they lost Jason Kelsey, the best center in the league in the history of the NFL. And Dwayne Johnson's getting old, getting hurt every year, so they needed to beef up that O-line. And I think this was a great signing to do that.
Right, for sure.
Speaking of the Cowboys and staying in the NFC East, they did sign an old foe in Ezekiel Elliott to a 1-year, $3 million deal. So what's your thoughts on that before I give my thoughts?
I know you probably don't like it. I think this is a great move. Honestly, you guys didn't get Derrick Henry. You guys didn't get Saquon. You guys didn't get one of the big name running backs in the league. Let's go to old reliable, okay? Let's go to someone who knows our system, someone who knows our offense, someone who doesn't have Tony Pollard to run, next to anymore. Let's get Ezekiel Elliott back. Show glimpses of, great things last year with New England. Even though that offense was terrible, he showed glimpses, okay? He didn't play poorly. He played better than what he did in his last season with the Cowboys. You give him another chance. He proves himself. He gets the bag again because Jerry's going to give him a bag if he proves himself. And I think this is a great signing. This is a great move. This is going to, resurrect his career, and hopefully you guys, benefit from it.
I hope you're right. I don't mind the signing. The problem with me is those names you just mentioned, a Saquon, a Derrick Henry, other running
Josh
backs. We could have had AJ Dillon. Like we didn't even want to throw $4 million at AJ Dillon or Zach Moss, but we throw $3 million at Ezekiel Elliott, who's in the downhill of his career. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like it just doesn't make sense. So I don't mind signing, given that we missed out on those guys, but I would have much rather had one of those guys that you mentioned. But overall, it is a good signing because we need a running back depth. But the problem with me is he's not a starter in the league anymore. He showed that last year. And I think we're going to rely on him to start, and he's not going to give us starting numbers that we expect. And I think our run game is going to struggle because of that.
No, he's not going to average, what was it, like 7 yards a carry like he did previously with you guys? Something like that, right?
And based off what Jerry said, he said based off what he saw on the Patriots last year, Zeke is still a starter. But he's clearly not. He's slower. He's older. He can't take the hits like he used to. He's not the same Zeke that Jerry thinks he is.
No, but I think what Jerry saw was a terrible offense and a good running back, right? Same thing with a Saquon. You look at Saquon and what he did with the Giants, and it was spectacular because you knew they didn't have an offensive line. You knew they didn't have anything other than the running game, and no one could stop Saquon still, right? I think it was the same thing with Zeke. He didn't have a passing game whatsoever with Mac Jones, okay? So to rely on Zeke like they did, right, and to allow him to really resurrect his career in a sense and give him a chance to do exactly what he did previously with the Cowboys and have another chance with the Cowboys to do, what he wants to. I mean, I think this is a great move, and I think that's what Jerry saw was, potential once again with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, I hope it works out that way. I hope we don't rely on him the way I expect us to rely on him. I think we should use Rico Dowdle as a running back by committee with him, or Deuce Vaughn, change a pace back, someone like that, and maybe make Zeke a third down back or goal line back because that's what his body is built for.
For sure.
But we'll see what happens there and see if the Cowboys benefit like Gio and Jerry Jones thinks they will.
Yeah.
A former Cowboy.
Don't put me in a conversation with Jerry Jones. Don't compare me and Big Boy Jerry,
Hey, man, you could be a billionaire. What do you mean?
Oh, that I can do. The other part, comparing me and Jerry, that's something in itself.
Hey, man, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, Gio. So maybe you are Jerry. Who knows?
Maybe I am. Maybe I will own America's team one day. Who knows?
Hey, man, get me season tickets if that comes to the case.
No. The America's team will be the Cleveland Cavaliers at that point.
Oh, okay. But speaking of a former Cowboy, Michael Gallup, he signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this was a good move. Obviously, Henry Renfro is not the third or second or third option anymore with Las Vegas. He didn't produce anything last year. Michael Gallup at least has potential, and obviously you saw him do some things with the Cowboys where hopefully he can, pretty much not, I don't want to say run the offense, right? But he'll definitely have a larger role with Las Vegas than he did with you guys in the Cowboys. So I think this was a great move for him. I think this is a good move for Las Vegas. Let's go with, Minshew Mania, man. I can't wait to watch him, just chuck that ball to Gallup, chuck that ball to, man, why am I
Davante
blanking?
Adams.
Thank you. Yeah. He was the best. He was the best receiver in the league at one point, right?
Yeah.
Davante Adams, I can't wait for that. Obviously, they don't really have that great of a running back situation, but
Right.
that offense is going to be special because of, mustache, castache, Minshew. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think Minshew is going to surprise a lot of people, as he did in Jacksonville when he took over before Trevor Lawrence came along, and then as he did last year with the Colts. He's a great quarterback. He just hasn't been in the right situation, and now I think he is. And get those quarterbacks being taken before the Raiders, I think was a blessing in disguise for the Raiders because now they'll see what Minshew Mania is all about, and he'll be able to carry them not to a division title, but I could see them ending in that poor division, second or third in that range.
Right. For sure.
Um,
They're definitely going to be over the Broncos. They're definitely going to be over the Chargers, most likely, right? So they're
yeah,
most likely going to be the second team.
yeah, with the lack of wide receivers for the Chargers, similar position as the Bills, I just don't see them. You could have a great quarterback, but if you don't have weapons for them, who are they going to throw to? And that's the situation the Chargers and Bills are in.
Right.
But to get to the Michael Gallup signing, I think it was a great move for him and for the Raiders. He needs to rejuvenate his career. The Cowboys just didn't use him properly. He is a deep threat guy, but he can also run great routes. And I think the Raiders are going to use him properly, and Minshew will get him the ball because, as you said, Hunter Renfrow didn't pan out the way they expected. They still do have Jacoby Myers and Davante Adams. That's a great tandem. And then they added Brock Bowers. So this offense is looking a lot better than it did last year, and maybe they can make some noise and surprise people.
For sure.
Um, but moving on to something else that is a little controversial to some people, Guardian caps did get authorized for in-game use during the NFL season. If players want to use them, it's not required, but if they want to use them, they are allowed to now. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I understand why they're doing it. Does it take away from the game? I don't think so. I think it's just another, evolving part of the game.
Yeah, it's just a safety precaution, if you ask me.
It is because if you look at it, right, first off, when they started football, leather
A while
caps,
ago.
okay?
Yeah.
Leather caps. Then you go ahead and move into the helmet era, right, where you start to have, the metal helmet and stuff like that. Then you add padding, you have the face guard. So really, it's just another part of the evolving game of football. Are they going to take it? Who's going to be prideful and not take it, right? I think that's what it's going to come down to is like, okay, are you going to be an outsider if you have a cap on, right?
Right. Like I was gonna say, maybe defenders will see that cap and be like, "Oh, he's a cap on. I can hit him to the head, no problem."
I hit him to the head. I can hit him harder. Does he really deserve to be on the field? Like all these other things, these precautions. It's a smart move. Don't get me wrong. To have the cap on is a smart move. You are protecting yourself and your future at this point. But in the game of football, they're going to look at that as a sign of weakness. And any sign of weakness that you show in the game of football is going to be attacked. And you are going to be attacked for wearing that cap.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're gonna have a target on their back for wearing the cap. If a player even does it, we're not sure if a player ever will even do it. No player has come out and said they'll do it. Um, Maybe that's why they don't want a target on their back. I think
Right.
if a player does come out and wear that, they're gonna have a target on their back because the defenders are gonna see it and be like, "Oh, I can't say the word live, but he's a baby." Um,
Yeah.
he's soft. They're just going to continue to go after that player and make sure that to put him in this place, know that we're going after you all game for wearing something like silly like that.
Yeah, something silly like that. I agree. So I mean,
But,
good move.
I mean, yeah, I think it was the right move by the NFL to, I mean, not require it, but to say if you want to use it, you can. I think it was the right move because concussion numbers have been going up like the past 5 seasons. Let's be honest, and it's because of even not on head-to-head hits. You get tackled and your head just hits the ground. Like this would protect that. We'll make the concussion numbers go down if players wear it. We'll see.
For sure.
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't think many players are going to wear it just because I just don't think they'll do it in a game. In practice, it's different, but in a game, I just don't see it happening.
I agree.
But moving on to the NFL draft, I have a biggest surprise in mind, but I'll pass it off to Gio first to see what was his biggest surprise of the NFL draft.
So obviously, everyone's gonna say Penix, right? Going to Atlanta, everyone's gonna say Penix. I have to say it was the trade between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills for the Bills to do exactly what they did. They could have drafted Xavier. Could have gave, hey Josh, we got you. We're gonna give you, like you said, the fastest wideout in the entire league. We're gonna give you a guy who's got potential going crazy. He could be possibly the best wide receiver in the draft. Obviously, you have Maserati Marv, you have all these other guys. But no, we're gonna trade. We are gonna trade the pick, not even get a guy, to the defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, who they need, obviously, another wideout because Rashee Rice is going through some issues. Hardman is Hardman, right? They only got Travis at this point, and they got, obviously, they just got Marquise. Great sign. But we need another guy. Who are we going to get? Oh, let's get the fastest guy, in the draft. Thank you so much, Buffalo, for, handing that on a silver platter for us. What were they thinking? That was probably, that was the most shocking thing to me.
Yeah, they say great minds think alike because I was going to say that too, as well as Penix. But that when I saw that trade, I was like, so you're going to help the team that you haven't been able to bait for the past 5 years? That makes sense. Yeah, give him the fastest receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Give Patrick Mahomes another weapon that you have to guard twice every year. That really makes sense. I know you still drafted a receiver in Keon Coleman, but you just gave Patrick Mahomes another speedster, a Tyreek Hill type of player, and look what he did with Tyreek Hill. He has 2 Tyreek Hill type of players now in Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy. So this move makes absolutely no sense for the Bills. I know they wanted to get draft capital for the years to come, but do it with another team. Don't do it with your rivals. That makes absolutely no sense.
We're the best team in the league. Honestly, let's just make the best team better. That's their thought process.
Yeah, that made absolutely no sense to me. I was shocked when that happened. Bills fans are rightfully mad at it, and I would be too if I was a Bills fan because you just pushed the Chiefs up a hill and pushed yourselves down the hill.
That's right.
But going to the other biggest surprise, the Michael Penix pick, that one also made no sense because they just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal. You're disgruntling Kirk Cousins the moment he gets there. Before he even puts on a helmet and throws a pass for you guys, you disgruntle him. And we've seen this happen with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay when they took Jordan Love. He didn't take the season seriously. Will Kirk Cousins take the season seriously now? We don't know. I get it. They wanted a succession plan. But even if Kirk Cousins stays healthy for the next 4 years, say he leaves, okay, Michael Penix is 29 years old. He has 3, maybe 4 good years. It just doesn't make any sense in my eyes because of how old he is. He's a great quarterback, but the fit is just weird because by the time he can start, he'll be way too old to start, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't understand the thought process. I am so happy Bill Belichick is not the head coach there.
I think they did it solely because of Kirk's age, and 2, he's coming off a torn Achilles, so they're being precautionary. But if that's the case, wait till the 4th or 5th round when there's not great skill players available.
That, but also do yourself a favor. Why? So this is
And
what
don't
makes
sign Kirk to a 4-year, $180 million deal.
that's the whole thing. If you want a succession plan or you're not confident in Kirk Cousins, go ahead, get Penix, because that was a great move. If you don't think Kirk's going to make it through this whole season, he will be perfect to just slide right in, get your guys selves to the playoffs, maybe win a game or two, right? Fine. You signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal, not just any 4-year deal. He's is he the highest paid?
He's not the highest, but he's one of the highest.
He is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Coming off a torn Achilles at 35.
Right. So you're telling me right now that you had that much confidence in Kirk? Did you see something after he signed? Did you what happened to where your confidence went from, what was it, 185?
180.
$180 million contract for 4-year deal to, we need to draft Michael Penix Jr., who's going to be 29 if Kirk stays healthy the entire time.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it was a group decision. Based off the owner's reaction to them drafting, obviously when the owner of the football team goes down there in the draft room and talks to your general manager, that's a little interesting. That doesn't happen normally. So I think the GM made this decision without anyone else's sign of approval per se.
Yeah. And if Kirk doesn't work out, he's going to look like a genius. But
right.
Then
if again, he does work out, you're going to look stupid.
But then if he doesn't work out, it's a lose-lose, okay?
Yeah.
Kirk works out, Penix gets old. Kirk doesn't work out, Penix gets in, money's wasted on Kirk, okay?
Exactly. And there's a third situation where you lose. You have to pay Penix as a first-round pick now. He's going to make bank.
Yeah.
So you're just putting yourself in a cap hole with this move.
Right. And I'm sure Penix is like, okay, man, thank you. I'm sure he wants to play. But thank you for paying me just to sit here. And then when my time's up, I can prove it. But then again, I'm probably going to get bank, leave, sign a 1 or 2 year deal with, who knows, Raiders or Chargers or whoever needs a quarterback at that time. And go,
Right. I don't know. Maybe I think they should have took Romo Duns instead of, handing him on a silver platter to the Bears with Caleb Williams. That didn't make the Bears killed the draft, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe looking at the positives, maybe Penix will work out after Kirk moves on, and maybe sitting behind a veteran like Kirk will help him become a great quarterback when he does get the chance to start around 29, 30 years old. Maybe he can have 4 or 5 years of high-level play that continues their success even when Kirk has to call it quits.
For sure.
But I just think in the near future, it's not going to do anything to improve the team, and that's why I don't like the pick.
Right.
But moving on to the NBA, a lot of first-round exits to get to. The Suns, Pelicans, Lakers, Heat, and Bucks all were out in the first round. Suns and Pelicans got swept. Lakers and Heat got a gentleman's sweep, and then the Bucks lost in 6 tonight. We'll start with the Suns. What do you think is the next move or the right move for the Suns after their very disappointing year?
Start over. Okay.
But I'm going to just say this. The owner, Matt Ishbia, I believe he doesn't know what he's doing. A lot of NBA insiders have done that. And this quote says that. He said, anybody in the league would want our starting 5. We're keeping our starting 5.
I would agree to an extent. I think you're obviously Brad, KD.
But those 3 can't win together. That was shown, in my opinion. But I'll let you keep going.
So, but obviously Nurkic he's iffy, okay? Offensively, defensively, he's to me, he's not a winning center. Obviously, then you have your 4 who, you can honestly put anyone there. But
it was KD technically.
8 games?
Who?
with the three of them playing together.
How many was it?
Like 8
In the regular season or in the playoffs?
in the regular season. They obviously played 4 in the playoffs.
I think it was around like 8 to 12 in that range. I don't know the exact number, but it was not a lot.
But it's less than 20 games they played together, okay?
Oh, 100%.
That's
Yeah.
that's less than a fourth of the season. You cannot expect, team continuity to, develop within 20 games of
No.
a season.
No.
So Brad needs to stay healthy. If Brad can stay healthy, I would give this team another shot. I wouldn't totally blow it up. I would try to add obviously a couple more depth pieces in this, coming off season. But if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I'm trying to keep those core 3 together. Obviously, D-Book, he wants out, right? New York's, the next landing spot for him possibly. KD, bring me to Miami. And then Brad's stuck.
Minnesota somewhere.
Right. And Brad's just stuck. So,
yeah.
I mean, if I am the Phoenix Suns, keep those 3 guys together, at least for one more season, just like the PG, Kawhi Leonard, although they're losing, they're having more success, right?
That's because Kawhi's out, let's be honest.
But then again, you can say Tim Hardaway Jr. Like,
yeah, but he's not as important as Kawhi.
Yes, obviously Kawhi Leonard to Tim Hardaway. But I think Tim Hardaway Jr., you have the Mavs, it's not even close. They already won the series. That's just,
I agree.
Deal is. But going back to the Suns, right? Their next move, I think they need to, personally, I think they need to blow it up. Instead of, I know I just, made the argument of keeping them together, but blowing it up, I don't think with the Nuggets, with the T-Wolves, with the Warriors probably getting revamped, with the upcoming Spurs, with Sacramento Kings, who's going to have probably a bounce back year next year, right? With the Pelicans, with OKC, right? All these young teams will beat you. I don't care who you are; they're gonna beat you next year. If you Bradley Beal, D-Book, and Kevin Durant, you need more than 3 players on a team now in the West. And so if you can't build a team for success now, you have to build for the future. You have Kevin Durant still, you have D-Book, and you have Bradley Beal. Trade them all. Get young guys. Get draft stock. Do exactly what OKC did with Paul George, with Russell Westbrook, they just let Carmelo go, right?
Yeah.
With Steven Adams, with all the other guys they traded off, and everyone was like, why are they doing this? They were bad for 2 years, but they got back so much more than those 2 years. They're going to have a championships hopes team every single year now for the next at least 10 years, right? So,
yeah, I think there's only one move that they need to do, and that is it's going to be easier or harder said than done, or easier said than done. And that's trading Bradley Beal, because he just, in my eyes, can't stay healthy, and I don't think he'll start staying healthy anytime soon. He was the reason they struggled, in my opinion. 9 points on 3 of 12 or something like that in a elimination game with 6 turnovers and 6 fouls. That's not going to get it done. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Devin Booker did everything he could. 45 points. Kevin Durant chipped in 25. You expect your third starter to chip in 20 to 25 and keep your season alive. 9 points? Yeah, that's not going to get it done. I think Bradley Beal was the issue. They've shown they can win with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It was the moment they got Bradley Beal that it went downhill. I don't think he's a good fit there. I think that's the move that they need to do, is find a home that he would want to go to, because he has a no trade clause, and find a home that can take on that contract, because he has a huge contract and is due for $65 million next year.
Yes. And no. The main problem for me, and I think you know him very well, his name is Frank Vogel.
I don't think he's the problem. I think it was the same issue with this roster that it was with the 2021 and 2022 Lakers, or whatever year after the championships, the 2 years after the championships. Yeah. I think that the problem with this roster was It wasn't built for him. He's a defensive-minded coach. Look at 2020. That Lakers roster was built to perfection for defense. Defense, defense, defense. He is a defensive-minded coach. Tell me the last time you saw Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, or Kevin Durant play defense. They don't. They're offensive-minded players. He's not an offensive-minded coach, and that is why they struggle, because he didn't have a roster that was built for his coaching style.
Okay. And that's why he's the main. You just made my argument. He is the main issue because of that reason.
Well, I would say that
and
I
KG.
was yeah, but I would say the general manager would be the issue, because he didn't build a roster that would fit Vogel's style.
Yes, but then again, you can also say it's a GM because he hired Vogel in the first place. Because with your 2 or 3 main guys being offensively minded players, right? Unlike the Lakers, where you have Anthony Davis, I'm the best defensive player in the league. Yeah, okay. But still, I'm the best defensive player in the league. That's his mentality. He's defense. LeBron James has at least a chase down block every single game. Then you have, obviously, Austin Reeves, he tries. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt. If you had this Lakers team with Frank Vogel this year instead of Darvin Ham, you guys got rid of him because he wasn't working out with Russ and all this other stuff.
He was a scapegoat. Let's put it that way. He was a scapegoat because of Russ.
Yeah, but this Lakers team was defensively minded, in my opinion.
But just couldn't stay healthy either.
Couldn't stay healthy. But then again, going back to the Suns, it's like you have Kevin Durant, you have Bradley Beal, you have, Devin Booker. Those 3 main guys, like you said, are offense, not defense. So his coaching style is not going to work with him, and that's why he was the problem.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, it's a bad sign when your one of the best players in the league, let's put it that way, Kevin Durant, comes out and says, I was not comfortable in the offense. I felt like I was relegated too much in the corner and not touching the ball enough. That's not a good sign. That's pretty much him throwing his coach under the bus and saying, get rid of this guy or I'm leaving. So I think they're going to have a choice between Kevin Durant and Frank Vogel. And if it comes down to that, they're obviously going to choose Kevin Durant.
Let's hope, right? I mean,
yeah, let's hope. But I don't know, man. I just think Bradley Beal was the issue, as well as Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel was not the best coach. I will give you that. He's not a great coach, but the roster also wasn't built for him, so it goes both ways. I think they do need a coaching change, but first and foremost, I think they got to get rid of Beal, because I've never been a fan of the 3-star formation. I don't think it works in the NBA. We've seen it fail a lot of times, and they're just another example of that.
The only reason why you have the 3-star, I want to say, is because you had.
It's because of the Warriors. Let's be honest.
Well, I think it started out with Mike, Pippen, and Rodman, right? In order to beat the bad boys, you needed
in this era. In this era, we could say it started with the Miami Heat, 2011 when Bron went there.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think the Miami Heat based it off of Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan, where you wanted, okay, D-Wade, LeBron. Now we need a third guy. We need that guy. Who's going to be that third guy? Chris Bosh. Obviously, it should have been Melo. It was going to be Melo, but Chris Bosh will do. Chris Bosh won 2 championships with him. So, anyways, yeah. So the 3 guys don't really work out, but they're basing it off of, like you said, the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh era, where they won 2 championships. Then you go to the Warriors. They had 5 freaking All-Stars on their team. Come on. I mean, you can't beat that. So realistically, you're not going to have another Golden State Warriors team ever again in that sense. You can try, but it's not going to work out.
Exactly. And the problem is those players on the Warriors, Heat, and Bulls fit perfectly around each other.
Right.
The players on the Suns, the other teams that have tried the 3-star formation, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, Anthony Davis, perfect example. They have not fit perfectly around each other. You have to make it make sense. And these owners or GMs nowadays are like, oh, Kevin Durant's available. I'll trade for him real quick. I don't care if he fits the team. It matters. It matters.
Right.
And as long as that keeps happening, we're going to see teams continue to fail with 3-star formations, in my opinion.
For sure.
But moving on to another team in the West who got swept, the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, It did hurt them that they did not have Zion Williamson this entire series. But what's your thing? What do you think is the next move for the Pelicans?
Try to build more depth. Obviously, you need to get a center, right? You need to add some more pieces, in my opinion. You have great young guys like Trey Murphy, right? Trey Murphy, and so those guys like that, right? But then again, a healthy Zion Williamson can make or break this team. You add him to your squad, right? When healthy, he was going to beat the Lakers. I know you don't want to hear it, but they were going to beat the Lakers. They were going back and forth. I think they were winning for a little bit. He gets hurt. What do you all go up by 10?
Yeah, something like that.
So he's healthy. They win. It's a different story. They play the Nuggets. Obviously, they would have probably got swept. Not even a gentleman's. They would have probably got swept. No one's going to beat the Nuggets right now. But then again, I do believe that you should keep this team. It's a good young team. You just gotta let it, work itself out and move for the future.
Yeah, I have a controversial take because I think it might be time to move on from Zion Williamson. He never stays healthy when it matters. Yes, he stayed healthy all season, which was great because they were seventh. Well, they could have been seventh, and who knows? They might have been seventh. As you said, if he stayed healthy, they could have beat us. I will admit that. We don't know what would have happened, but they could have. But I just think he's not healthy enough to pay him what he's going to want to be paid, and he's not productive enough to pay him what he wants to be paid either. I think it's just the right time, as they did with Anthony Davis, to move on from him and build around Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, trade BI, right? Did he do what you expect him to do in the playoffs? No. Did he do anything that you expect him to do in the playing game? No. Who played well in the playing game? Zion Williamson had 40, 11, and 8 or something like that, okay?
That's the only player who played well, outside of maybe Trey Murphy.
Right. And CJ, he's inconsistent. I feel bad for him because he's not the player he once was now, but he can still contribute. BI has to get traded because he can give you the most. Honestly, trade wise, he'll give you the most.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think CJ is in the same situation as D'Angelo Russell with the Lakers. He's going to be the scapegoat to get traded because he didn't perform well at all in the playoffs, and neither did Brandon Ingram. But they believe so much in Brandon Ingram that they're going to scapegoat CJ.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to you guys, honestly.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great fit. I mean, we're lacking. Obviously, he's inconsistent. I'm not going to lie. He's very inconsistent. But I think next to LeBron James, he's not going to be a point guard. That's not his role. They had him as a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard at heart. And I think next to LeBron James, he could be a perfect spot up shooter if it does pan out that way.
For sure.
But a lot of Pelicans fans I've seen don't like their coach. So what's your thoughts on their coach? You think keep him 1 year or let him go?
Oh, so I would say keep him. Obviously, I think it is so difficult with the Pelicans because everything rides on Zion Williamson's health. When healthy, they're a top team.
To get to that, though, he's got to lose another 15 pounds at least. Because, I mean, that hamstring injury, he literally just jumped and something happened. That has to be with weight.
Weight, or I think it's hydration, it's nutrition. If you're not hydrating properly or, eating the right stuff, your body will cramp up, your body will tense up, right? Your muscles will tighten, and then you jump like that. Obviously, you said weight-wise, you're that big, you jump like that, your muscle's going to tighten up and rip, right? And that's exactly what happened with the hamstring. And he tore his hamstring, and it was unfortunate. But I think it's more than just weight. I think it is nutrition and supplementation, along with hydration, to where that can really affect the way a player plays in a game, and can really potentially limit their injuries, or it can actually hinder their success, like Zion Williamson this year.
Right, and I think as we've said, the previous podcast, the previous years when the Pelicans didn't make the playoffs, he needs to get a personal chef. All these players in the league do it for a reason. They know what to feed their bodies. And Zion's out there in New Orleans. Obviously, they got great food in New Orleans, but you got to know to control yourself, especially during the NBA season. In the offseason, do what you want. But during the season, you got to be disciplined.
Right.
But you think overall they should keep their coach for one more year?
One more year, see what happens. I mean, they were having some success, more success than obviously last year.
Right.
It really comes down to health. It comes down to consistency with BI. I think that's the real reason why the fans want him gone is BI did not have a season like he did previously.
Well, I think we got to give credit to Lou Dort too, because he had a heck of a defensive series against BI.
Not with OKC. I'm saying the whole season.
The whole season. Well, it's also though he was out for 2 months with that whatever I think it was knee or toe or whatever it was, and when he came back like a week before the playoffs. I think his rhythm was just messed up.
His rhythm was messed up, but I'm saying the whole his entire stat line. He was a dominant force in the league last year. The year prior to that, this year he wasn't even considered an aggressive player, in my opinion. I think he was just putting up numbers like Kevin Durant, just doing things, right? He wasn't actually changing the momentum of the game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I didn't really watch Pelicans much. I did against the Lakers, but every time I watched him, he took some very poor shot selections. Like the game would be going awry, and he'd be like, "Oh, I gotta get a bucket," and then take a terrible three or a terrible pull up mid range. It didn't seem like he was the same Brandon Ingram as he had been in the past.
For sure.
But I think it could go either way. They could keep the core together and fix the margins, or trade one of the three players, which I think is more likely. I think they'll end up trading CJ McCollum and keep BI and Zion.
Yeah, that can happen.
But to get to one that hurts my heart, the Los Angeles Lakers did get gentlemen swept once again. At least we didn't get swept. At least we got one win for the first time in 2 years. I'll take it. Against the Denver Nuggets, they got gentlemen swept 4-1. So before I give my thoughts, obviously this coach got to go. But before I give my thoughts, what's your thoughts on what has to happen next for the Lakers in the near future?
One, D'Angelo Russell has to go. Okay, I don't care what you say, what you've said in the past. I've been saying since you guys got him, everyone calls me a D'Angelo Russell hater. And that's because he doesn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's my whole
I'm agreeing with you now, because based off like last year, first 2 rounds, great.
Right.
When it matters, though, when it matters,
he doesn't show up. Okay.
I mean, he did for 2 out of the 5 games. I'll say
2 out of 5, and he played to near perfection, and then he went to crap the rest of the game.
in game two when we were up 20 after the first half, he was playing great, 7 threes, and then second half he disappeared.
Right. So I mean, you had that with D'Angelo Russell. Don't even get me started with that. The center position, you guys. I mean, you had a chance, okay, to sign. Yes, he's old. Dwight Howard would have done better in this series.
I mean, yeah, he would have done better than Rui. That's true.
Rui, what's his face? Hayes.
Yeah. I mean, the only player, let's be honest, the only player who stopped or contained, because you can't stop Jokic, but the one who contained him is the one who claims he's the best defensive player of the league, in Anthony Davis.
100%. And you guys didn't even do that for the first 2 games.
That's on coaching. That's on coaching.
100%. But I'm just saying, you guys had Rui Hachimura guarding him instead of the best defensive player in the league, apparently, in his eyes. But it's just a whole lot of things went wrong. LeBron James
did everything he could.
Phenomenal.
Did everything. I mean, what did he average? 28 a game?
He played phenomenal for a 39-year-old person with that amount of miles on his body.
And playing 40 minutes a game at 39?
To do what he did was phenomenal. He did more than anyone could probably ask of a 39-year-old at this point. Anthony Davis has to go offensively.
He showed up every game outside
Uh,
of game 5, but that's because he was hurt.
he
I
was
don't think he was
hurt in game.
healthy. I don't think he was healthy. I think he gutted it out because he knew that the season was on the line.
I understand, but I'm saying realistically, when it mattered and momentum changing aspects of it, the third quarter, no one showed up in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, he showed up. I want to say he tried, but when he did it, it was too late.
Here's the thing. It all comes back to coaching for me. It all comes back to Darvin Ham. If you have a player that is top 5 to top 10 in the league and is absolutely torching Nikola Jokic through the first 2.5 quarters, why go away from it? Why do we stop the LeBron James, Anthony Davis pick and roll? Why do we stop force feeding AD? Who cares if he gets double teamed? He's smart enough. He was a point guard before. He's smart enough to make the right play. He will make the right play. That just shows me that Darvin Ham doesn't know how to coach, one, and two, he has very little trust in Anthony Davis, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I do believe it does. Obviously, you guys were leading in at least 75% of the time in this series.
Yeah, we led. I don't know the exact number, but I saw the graphic once. It was like 129 minutes we led, and then 75 minutes the Nuggets led. Yet they were up 3-1.
So that happened. Obviously, it's coaching, but I think defensively, you guys couldn't stop anything. Jamal Murray.
I mean, we stopped him. We stopped him through 3 quarters, and then in the fourth, he's turned up every time.
But with a defending champion, right, like Jamal Murray, like Nikola Jokic, like Michael Porter Jr., like KCP, right, even a Christian Brown, these guys can heat up at any point in time.
And then even when exactly, and then even when we played great defense, we put a hand in their face, just like the Western Conference Finals last year. They'd hit a Hail Mary shot. Like they're just that good. They're just that good.
They are that good, and I'm sure they practiced everything you guys threw at them because they have a great coach. They have your guys' father as their coach.
Yeah, let's not go that. I'm not going to go that far yet, but yeah, I mean, the series ended in a 4-1 victory for the Nuggets solely because of coaching, one, and two, their others, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, KCP, did so much more than our others. Austin Reeves played fantastic. I'm not mad at Austin Reeves, never will be.
Right.
I'm mad at Rui Hachimura. What he averaged, like single digits, and then D'Angelo Russell. Yes, he had 2 great games, but when it mattered, he did not convert the way we needed him to convert, and he was the decision maker in the entire series. Like if he played the way he played in the regular season after the trade deadline, of course, in this series, we could have won the series. I mean, as we said, we led 75% of the time. If D'Lo averaged 20 points a game, we're the ones winning 4-1, not the Nuggets.
Right.
And so it comes down to the others for me. I think our next moves, obviously Darvin Ham's all but gone. I mean, everything I've heard is that he's going to be fired by the end of this week, as early as tomorrow, potentially. They're already looking into head coaching positions or head coaching candidates. JJ Redick and Tyronn Lue are names to watch, is what I've heard. I would like Ty Lue. I think JJ Redick would be a good assistant. I'm kind of sick of rookie head coaches, but we'll see what happens with the Clippers first and foremost. We gotta watch that first. But I think that's first and foremost firing Darvin Ham. He's terrible. We've been through this. I don't need to get into it again. He's a horrible coach. No matter what Charles Barkley says, he thinks the roster is terrible. The roster wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't great. But if used properly, it could have been a much better year for the Lakers, in my opinion. And we could have beat the Denver Nuggets. I mean, we were in every game, as you said. And if the roster was used properly, we could have won all those games that we lost, in my opinion. So that's first and foremost, is getting rid of Darvin Ham. And I think that'll happen by the end of this week. And then hiring a coach, of course, which will take time. And then we do have to trade D'Angelo Russell. I don't want it for a third star, though. I think a DeJounte Murray type of player, a CJ McCollum type of player, that'll be enough to get us let's say 5th or 6th out of the play-in. That's all I want. Just get out of the play-in, because the play-in is where you lose first round. You draw a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves. Stay away from them for as long as possible. So I think that will be enough. And then fix the margins. The bench was terrible. Gabe Vincent, find a way to get rid of him. The only players I want back on this team are Jared Vanderbilt, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, which will be remain to be seen. We expect him, as of what I've heard, they expect him to resign, opt out, and then resign a 2 to 3 year deal with us. And then Anthony Davis, of course. Those are the only 4 I want back. Outside of that, fix the margins, see what you can get in free agency, and then go from there.
I 100% agree. The only thing I kind of disagree about is Taurean Prince. Okay, he didn't play bad.
No, but he
not
didn't
play bad for you guys in the playoffs.
The problem is during the regular season, Darvin Ham will be gone, thank God. Well, so we hope. But he just was way too inconsistent in the regular season, and I think he already signed a 2-year deal. But if there is a way we could offload him with a Gabe Vincent and get an Alex Caruso type of player or someone along those lines, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. If you can get AC back, that would be a different story.
It's just in the regular season. I don't look at just the playoffs. I look at the regular season too. He was just way too inconsistent for my liking.
He was very inconsistent, but I look at the playoffs. I think that's the time that actually matters the most. I think Anthony Davis alone can get you to the playoffs.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. The rest of the pieces matter for the playoffs, to win in the playoffs, as we saw in that series. Taurean Prince can play in the playoffs. I'd keep him. That means you have 5 guys on your team right now.
Yeah, and we need 10 more?
10 more.
This free agency class, role player wise, which is what we need big time, is very, very good. I think we could get a lot of good players. I mean, it's Los Angeles. Players are drawn here. So go out and see what you can get.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
I personally think the Los Angeles Lakers roster will be very different next year, because LeBron James, I believe, will use his leverage of his player option and say, if you don't change this roster the way it should be built around me, then I'm packing my bags and leaving.
Right.
And I think I could see 5, maybe 6 guys staying, but outside of that, the role players in particular are going to look a lot different than they did this year. And I think that's the right move, along with obviously getting a new coach.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't have the Miami Heat fan who, was very, very confident and high on them beating the Boston Celtics even without Jimmy Butler. But Butler did come out and say he's going to ask the Miami Heat for a 2-year, $113 million max extension. So based off that, you think that's the right move for the Heat? And if not, what is the next best move for the Heat moving forward?
You get rid of Jimmy Butler, your best player. You're not winning at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We saw that in this playoff series.
Yeah.
The only good thing I saw from this series is Jaime Vasquez. Okay. When he played, Jaquez, thank you.
Yeah.
He played fantastic. Okay. When he was healthy.
Yeah,
Tyler Hero, spotty. Bam Adebayo, trash. Duncan Robinson, waste of money, waste of a roster spot.
I mean, he's in there to shoot threes, and maybe made 1 or 2 all series.
Right. And what happened to this team? Caleb Martin, non-existent, right?
Bro, I mean, ever since that he got paid after that Eastern Conference Finals run, he seems like he doesn't care to play basketball anymore, to be honest.
And that's what happens. I mean, LeBron and JJ said it once some of these guys get money, it's out the window. They have no more hunger.
Especially a role player like Caleb Martin. He's like, oh, I got my bag. I'm set.
Right. So I mean, bad loss for
I
this.
mean, yeah, I agree. Like, this team's built off culture. Whether you have Jimmy Butler or not, you're not supposed to get beat by 30 in every game, except one game where you won.
Right.
And that's because you shot the lights out of the ball. Let's be honest. That was a lucky showing, and that showed in the other games.
Right.
So I I'm surprised that the Heat didn't put up more of a fight. I thought maybe after game 2 when they tied it up 1-1 that they could push it to 6, and then they just looked like they just stopped playing basketball, which I think surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But so you think keep Jimmy Butler? What else do you think they have to do to get back to where they want to go?
Pray that Kevin Durant comes to you guys.
I think if KD leaves the Suns, he'll either run to Minnesota because that's who swept him, or he'll go back to the Golden State Warriors. That's my opinion.
I think he goes to the Miami Heat. They're the second in that he's projected to go to. The Miami Heat with Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, you're not stopping that team. That is a team that will fit together, okay? You have a pure scorer in Kevin Durant. You have a dog in Jimmy Butler who will play defense and offense, right? He's one of the best two-way players in the game.
Then you have a pure defender in Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo, and he doesn't have to be a second offensive option anymore. You can rely on Kevin Durant to be the first or second guy. Caleb Martin will start shooting better. Tyler Hero, my goodness, we didn't even mention him yet. He will be the fourth guy on that team. Tyler Hero can average 20, bro. 20 next year if you have, Kevin Durant. He's not even a focal point on offense anymore, but Tyler Hero will be that guy still. You get Kevin Durant, I don't see them losing. One, because Jimmy Butler is still, I don't care if he's hurt this year. He is still the beast in the East. He's still the Celtics killer, okay? He plays the series, it is different. You are not beating Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, okay? I don't
I
care who
think
you
I think that they might have lost, but it would have went to at least 7 easily.
And in game 7, Jimmy Butler finishes it. It will come down to, just like last year and the year previous to that, it'll come down to the final Jimmy Butler shot. He makes it, they win. He misses, they go home. And I'll guarantee you he makes it more than he misses it, okay? So, that being said, the Miami Heat with Kevin Durant, you're not losing. So, pray that you get him, okay? And unfortunately, yes, you lose your general manager in basketball operations and Pat Riley. We'll see what happens next year. With that being said, but I mean, Miami's here to stay. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. I can't believe I'm saying all this with a Miami Heat fan not being here. Sounds like I'm a Miami Heat fan myself, but I still have belief in Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat.
Yeah, I agree. I think, as you said, with Jimmy, this series is a lot different. I still think the Celtics win, but not demolishing them as they did all series long. Um, I I think the Heat don't have to make many moves. Maybe, fix the margins a little bit. Get rid of Duncan Robinson. Get rid of some bench players that didn't help you the way you expected, such as a DeLon Wright or Patty Mills type of player. Get players that can help you right away, and then Jimmy Butler will come back with a vengeance next year, knowing that he got hurt and knowing that the Celtics beat them this year. Every year, the whoever wins, every year it comes back. The Celtics win, then the Heat win the next year. The Celtics win, the Heat win the next year. I'm not going to be surprised if they meet in the playoffs and the Heat win next year because Jimmy Butler is going to be on a revenge tour and make sure that he sends them home himself. But
That's right.
But yeah, sending Kevin Durant there, if that does happen, that team would be absolutely insane.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's realistic, but because I do think Kevin Durant most likely will stay with Phoenix, and because I think he likes it there and he likes D Book, he think he's their fit is great together. I mean, obviously it didn't work out this year, but injuries played a part in that as well. I think they give it one more go together, and if it doesn't work out, then maybe he leaves. But if he does go to Miami, no one's stopping Miami in the East, like Gio said. But did Pat Riley leave? Is that why you said that?
He retired.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Well, congrats on an amazing career to him.
Yep.
Oh, now moving on to the last team that was just eliminated, the Milwaukee Bucks, another disappointing team. Obviously, yeah, if they had Giannis, the series is a lot different in my opinion. But what's your thoughts on their next best move moving forward?
Next best move, keep the team. I mean, yes. People want to say make all these changes. Yeah, Bobby Portis could have been, sixth man of the year. You have Damian Lillard. When healthy, he could be top 5 guard in the league still. Giannis Antetokounmpo is arguably the best player in the league when healthy. You have, yes, like you said, you have Giannis in the series. It's a sweep, okay?
I think
You
they
say
win in
competitive.
I think it'd be competitive. I think they'd win in 6.
This young team showed you they can break down without Damian Lillard, without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Your best player is Chris Middleton. Your second best player is Bobby Portis. No offense to Bobby, but he's not a second option on any team. Okay.
Yeah.
So
they also didn't have Dame
about,
for 2 games. I forgot they didn't have Dame for 2 games either.
Right. So you look at that, and the 2 games they won were without Damian Lillard.
Yeah, they won one with Dame. The game one.
with Dame.
Yeah.
But the other one was without Damian Lillard, and it was a blow.
They smoked them without Dame.
Right. So I think with Giannis Antetokounmpo there, you're not stopping him inside. The pace of the game is different with Giannis in the game. Defensively, they are a different juggernaut, okay? Tyrese Halliburton's not getting an open lane like he did in these games. You're not going to have Miles Turner doing the things he did. You're not going to have any of these guys, TJ McConnell, driving in. You're not getting, right? So with Brook Lopez, Giannis Antetokounmpo, down on the block, you're not going to have anyone, coming in the lane. It's a different series. Bucks in 4. Congratulations to the Pacers. But y'all were lucky that Giannis Antetokounmpo did not play a single minute in this series because it would have been different.
Yeah, I agree. I went into the series thinking, oh, yeah, Giannis is going to come back. It's playoffs. No way he misses the playoffs. But calf strain was obviously a lot more major than we originally thought, so he wasn't able to come back and play. But if he plays, I'd say Bucks win in 5 or 6. I don't think it'd be a sweep, but it wouldn't be a competitive 5 or 6 either. They win by double digits every game, similar to what the Nuggets did to the Lakers, I think. And I agree. They got to keep the team together. I mean, they have great pieces. It's just they weren't healthy. The only move I could see is firing Doc Rivers because I've never been a Doc fan. They hired him for the reason of defense, and somehow, some way, he made their defense worse. I just don't understand, and I will never understand why they fired Adrian Griffin mid-season to get Doc Rivers. I just will never understand that. I think that was the wrong move. So if they are going to make a move, it shouldn't be a roster move. I think it should be a coaching move.
I agree. But at the same time, I mean,
taking over a team halfway through the season is a little hard too.
It's extremely hard. You don't have the preparation like everyone else does preseason to understand how this team plays. Just to come right in and have your own situation happen, run your own plays. It's just hard for a team to do that. But I think Doc deserves another shot at this next year. But I would not be surprised if they move on.
Yeah, I could see that. Congratulations to the Pacers, though. First playoff win since Paul George was there, which was in 2014. So it's been a very long time since they won a playoff series. But before we wrap up, a lot of people think that the Suns and Lakers in particular should fire their general managers or hire a general manager to play general manager role instead of having their owners play general managers. So what's your thoughts on that for either team or both, if you think both should?
Yeah, the Lakers, in my opinion, yeah. You said Rob. Yes, Rob tried. At least he tried this, off season. You have to make adjustments within the trade deadline in order to win a championship.
That's what I was about to say. The reason I think Rob is a great basketball mind. Keep him on the staff somehow, some way. Hire a general manager and have Rob as a different position because D'Angelo Russell, yeah, he was playing great in the trade deadline, sure. But now he has all the leverage. He has a player option. He's not going to opt in if you're going to say, oh, we're going to trade you anyway. He's going to opt out and pick the team he wants. You just put
Right.
yourself in a major hole. And I just don't think he's smart enough to be a general manager, personally.
What if, hear me out, you guys do D'Lo dirty, you sign him to an extension, and trade him? It's a sign and trade.
It wouldn't. I think still D'Angelo Russell would have to sign off on that, knowing that he's going to get traded. I think we tell him that we're going to trade him.
Do you have to though?
You don't have to, but like, it's technically the right thing to do, and I don't think we want to be in this bad blood.
D'Lo's bad blood. I mean,
but like, I think
are not a bad blood. You're the Lakers.
I just think I've never seen a team do that. Like, I think they they don't have to, but they feel like it's their right to.
Yeah, ethically you should do that, but honestly, it's a business. If you're trying to win and that's what you want to do, and D'Lo's a big part of that, to where you guys can get good pieces for him possibly still. Yeah, I'm signing him, and then I'm trading him out to wherever gives me the best, trade options.
Yeah, I agree with that, but yeah, I think Rob isn't built for a GM role. I think Jeannie isn't built for an owner role either, but she's never going to sell the team. So I think we have to not fire Rob, as I said, but make him like president of basketball operations, like Magic Johnson was, and then get a GM that knows what they're doing. That's what I think would be the best move. Do I think we'll do it? No, but I think it would be a great move.
For sure.
But you think the Suns general manager is okay as is?
I think he should be safe. Just because he did get the Bradley Beal deal. Obviously, it didn't work out because he wasn't healthy. He didn't get team continuity down. Give him another shot. He is new, but then again, like you guys, the role players, it's just give them one more year.
Yeah, the role players weren't terrible. Like, he signed good players. It's just the health, like you said, permitted them from going far.
Right.
But these insiders saying he doesn't know anything, and like Suns insiders, which is very skeptical, saying that he doesn't know anything about basketball, makes me think he has on a short leash. He just doesn't know it.
Right.
But I think he'll have. I agree. Give him 1 year. If it doesn't work out again next year with the whatever moves he decides to make, then they're gonna have to make a move.
Right.
But you got a segment over there?
Yeah, we got first off, may the 4th be with you guys. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Second off, yes, sir. And that Saturday too, we got Jordan 4. I believe the name is Utility. Blue, nice blue. All white shoe with blue hints to it. It's a classic Jordan 4 colorway, made like the Jordan SB4s. One of the most comfortable shoes you will ever put on your feet. And those are coming out. Obviously, they had a shock drop, but those are coming out 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So good luck to those who want those. And like I said before, may the 4th be with you. What's going on in the video game world?
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna take a little different route. The Mamacitas, I would take his little sneakers too. Mamacitas did drop yesterday on May 1st, I think.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, yesterday. It was Gigi Bryant's birthday, so they dropped the Mamacitas to her. Rest in peace to her, and happy birthday to her as well. So those shoes were very, very cool. They had gold and black as well as a white colorway. So very sick shoe. If you haven't seen them, I highly suggest you look them up and potentially buy them if that's your type of shoe. I personally really liked them, and I think they're cool looking. Very, very cool gesture to Gigi there and to Kobe Bryant as well. And then in the WNBA, Candace Parker did retire. So I wanted to give her her flowers for a great career. She really changed the WNBA to what we see it today, and she's deciding to take a step back to go into more broadcasting and to let the youngins such as Caitlin Clark take a larger role. So props to her on a great career, and hope she enjoys retirement. And thank you all for watching. See y'all in the next one.
All right, guys. If you're looking for Nick Saya, look for him down below in the comments section. If you guys like this podcast, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And like two wise men once said, subscribe. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.